Hello and welcome back! I am Lord Revonworc. This is Civilization V Historical Recreation World War I Centennial Anniversary Edition as Serbia. Whew. Okay, that's more energetic than I've had for my intro in a while. Actually, it's been sort of a while for me since I have recorded on account of various technical difficulties. You guys might have actually seen one of these technical difficulties on... what day was it? Maybe Wednesday or Thursday? I don't actually recall. I think it might have been Thursday. I put up a CK2 episode only for it to for the video to get screwed up by YouTube's processing. And don't get me wrong. Oh, I am being attacked a lot. Have I lost anything? I've lost quite a lot. Who am I at war with again? It's the Romanians, right? Also, I think I just lost a ship. Over here. Yeah. Wait, what? Battleship, battleship. Yeah, so what had happened with that CK2 episode, it was, I think, like episode 121. And the video actually turned out just perfect on my hard drive. Like, the edited one was absolutely fine. It's when I uploaded it, YouTube sort of screwed it up. So, okay, well, obviously, I need to, withdraw my battleships, or else they are going to, all die. What had happened was YouTube sort of took the CK2 episode, cut it in half vertically down the middle, and then stretched both halves to fit the entire breadth of the screen, and superimposed them over each other, and then messed with the RGB in rather erratic manners. And so I ended up having to deal with that by re-uploading the video, only I didn't even realize that the video originally was messed up in the original upload until a day later when I got a comment about it. And then the comment was sort of vague, so I ended up having to ask the guy to clarify, so it took me a while to even realize there was anything wrong with the video. So, yeah, that was somewhat annoying. And I re-uploaded it, and now the version that's up is still fine. Though, oddly, I still have the older one up. I unlisted it because, I mean, come on, obviously I unlisted it. But technically, you still could watch it if you could find the link, which I actually might put the link in the description. I don't know. I guess you could check it out if you really wanted to see how messed up YouTube made the video. It's not pretty. Yep. And I also lost a piece of artillery. Kinda sucks. Didn't have too much artillery to begin with. Well, okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to... Well, okay, I'm going to bombard it first to try and reduce the cost of that attack. Okay, please don't screw up my kingdom too much, or my empire, rather. Okay, well, definitely not liberating it. I'll get 8 unhappiness from puppeting it. But hey, look, just 8 the cost and it isn't really hurting me very much. That, I must say, is nice. Yeah, I was actually going to put up an extra episode of CK2 that week, but it never happened because of that whole technical issue. So, guess I'll just be pushing back that extra episode to maybe this weekend? Or possibly never? Hard to say when someone's as lazy as I am. Okay, yeah, Washington is much easier to handle now that the vast majority of its population have been utterly annihilated. Ah, and to think you were once a great city. Okay, so we've got an election here. Enact world leader. Obviously, I'm going to vote for myself. Duh. And I'm going to get more votes than anyone else. Though it's not going to be enough to win yet. I will get free delegates from it, though. Romania also is getting free delegates, but if I destroy him, all those free delegates he's got are going to disappear. As a rule, I pretty much always like to share intrigue just because it doesn't really impact how much these people go about killing each other. I mean, let's face it, if Vlad were to try to invade Edinburgh, because, I mean, he's not going to be invading Washington now. He's already got Washington, or I guess not anymore. But there's no way he's getting troops up there, not unless he, like, marches all the way through the core area of Serbia way over here, which is not going to happen because I'm going to kill all of his soldiers. He's never going to successfully invade the United Kingdom. But what doing something like that does do is it increases tension between other powers. We don't want them liking each other too much. Therefore, ooh, frame rate issues. We better quick save. Make sure I've still got my quick save right now for 2069 AD. So yeah, I took a little break from recording for a while, and you know what? Honestly, I watched a lot of Netflix in that time. Yeah, a lot of TV shows that they had up on Netflix. So, one of the TV shows that I checked out was American Horror Story. It's like an award-winning cable serial slash anthology horror show, which I had no idea there was even a feasible way to make a serial slash anthology show. Like, those two concepts seem mutually exclusive, in my opinion. Because anthology is like a completely different story with completely different characters each time a previous story ends, whereas serial is a story, a one single long story that plays out over a course of many episodes. Of course, it turns out there actually is a very, very easy way to make that work. You just have each season be its own anthology story. So each season has like a serial story arc, but then it's just completely different each season. Yeah. Although that's not really the big point of that show. The real big thing about that show, American Horror Story, is that, and mind you, this is putting it very lightly, it is weird. It is one of the weirdest shows that I have watched in a while, whose target audience is not children. I mean, I've seen a lot of really, really weird kids shows, but well, okay, which do you think is more dangerous, these ironclads? Well, I've actually got more strength than they do, and that's not even counting my ranged attack power. I think that the most dangerous thing here, easily the battleship. Okay. So, I'm presuming I got, more delegates from World Leader attempts because I obviously won that and Romania came in second, so... Okay, I need to make a proposal. Now, what proposal might I want? You think it might be possible to get world religion now? Might be difficult to make that happen. Well, okay, if I check in on Romania, I don't think they have their own religion. There's a lot of Shinto and a lot of Rodnovery in their country, which is dominant. Well, okay, so they've got... What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cities. So, they're probably not going to vote for World Religion Rodnovery unless, at the very least, 5 of them are Rodnovery, and there's 3, 4, 5 of them are Rodnovery, and 5 of them are Shinto. But the thing is, I'm going to be conquering them, and I'll be capturing all their Rodnovery cities first, leaving them with only the Shinto ones. Unless, of course, I liberate Tours first, and then march my army around towards Berlin and start going for their southern provinces where the Shinto is more dominant. It's not a bad plan, actually. Of course, they might still vote against it just to spite me or something like that. But hey, if I can get them on my side, there's no way I can get the rest of the world to oppose that kind of proposal. I mean, 10, 20, 30, 36. Yeah, if I can get Romania to vote for something like that. And all I need to do is let Romania keep their Rodnovery cities while I capture their Shinto cities. It's brilliant, really. Okay. Now... that could be useful. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm going for World Religion Rodnovery. We can make this happen! Oh, wait. No, the vote's in 10 turns. We can't make this happen! Well, that is unless Romania votes for something that people have an even stronger opinion about. Which I suppose is a feasible possibility. Okay, yeah, so American Horror Story, really weird. It's interesting to me, but it's still really, really weird. And it's not the only show I watched. I'm like 5 episodes into it. Thus far. Another show that I've watched a lot of recently is actually an anime called Durarara, which is actually the first anime that I watched beginning to end, believe it or not. And it sort of had a special place in my heart because of that. And I don't watch very many animes. So, okay, we get to see the votes. Pretty much everyone voting for themselves. So, whatever, don't care. I have a great guy. Just find a good spot that's a distance of 3 from any given city. And just send him there. Like, that's 3 away from Kaluga and 3 away from Antwerp, and there's a great general here, Leonidas. Did I have Leonidas before? I mean, I guess I must have. Enemy unit spotted in my territory. Hyper aware of that. It's going to be a problem. I might lose another ship because of this piece of shit. What else? Okay, well, I should... That's a mobile SAM. They cause me problems. Yeah, and sort of the reason why I decided to rewatch this anime from my past is because its 2nd season just went up on Netflix recently. Not sure how recently, but it like came out last year. And it usually takes like about a year for stuff to show up on Netflix, so I'm going to say that it probably did make it onto the Netflix relatively recently. Anyways, I actually do have a little bit of a beef with the system, and I don't know, maybe it's just an anime thing. But like I said, this is a show from my past. It originally came out in 2010, and it ended after one season. And like I said, the second season came out last year, in 2015. 5 years later. It took 5 years for them to make a second season. And like I said, maybe it's just like an anime thing. I don't know. I don't watch enough animes to be an expert on the matter. But we're talking 5 fucking years for them to make the second season. Which, by the way, isn't even considered a second season. It's considered a separate TV show. For some reason. Maybe that's also an anime thing that I'm unaware of. I don't know. And to make things even weirder, second season broken up into 3 seasons on Netflix. Even though they all came out like in the same year. As you can tell, I don't even. Just weird production ideas. And if you actually start the first episode of the second season, it says that that it's getting back to the events which of the previous season, and saying it's 6 months later. So they're trying to, like, I don't know, what are they, whitewashing the fact that it took half a decade for this to come out by saying, no, wait, it was actually just half a year. It's just weird. I don't know why they do it like that. I mean, I knew way back when I watched it through the first time that they were planning on making a second season. And at the time, I thought it would be like, I don't know, maybe a 1.5 year long hiatus, like Rick and Morty announced. But no, it took 5 years. Because that makes sense. Obviously, 5 years is how long that should take. Obviously. I mean, I get it. Animation is a long, arduous process. But the thing is, all Western cartoon shows, they can keep making full seasons year after year. And it's not... And there's a very simple way they do it. They just work on episodes simultaneously. And that's something I do know about because I do actually watch Western cartoons a lot myself. And they do that to cut down on the animation time, so it only takes like a year to make every episode for a year. So they can keep making more episodes year after year. Oh, look at that. It appears I haven't lost any units this turn. That's excellent. Yeah, let's do that. They lost their battleship, but okay, they've got another battleship coming. And they've still got this marine here just waiting to march in. So yeah, there's like dumb production stuff going on with that anime, but I really enjoy it. It is worth noting that it takes sort of a while to actually get into the main story. But whatever. So, the third TV show I watched during my break was... Oh shit, what was it? I can't remember. Oh, right! Narcos. It's a Netflix original about the Medellin cartel and Pablo Escobar, famous drug lord from Colombia. It's really interesting. Netflix has a lot of really good shows, and I only thought to rewatch the first season of Narcos because Netflix decided one day when I logged on to put on a big timer telling me 6 days, second season coming out. And I've been waiting for the second season of this show for a while because I really enjoyed it. And it has sort of a sense of realism to it because, number one, they're reenacting historical effects dramatically, and there are some details they've changed. Some characters' names are different. I presume the families asked them to do that to try and respect them because, you know, a lot of people died because of Pablo. And like 90% of the dialogue is in Spanish instead of English, which is actually a really compelling way to do it. It makes it seem more real. Of course, it means I have to keep staring at the bottom of the screen to read the subtitles, just slightly less than I would if I was watching an anime, because I watch all my animes subbed when possible instead of dubbed. Not that I watch very many animes anyways. That's beside the point. Still, it's a great show. I really enjoy it, and for some reason I only watched the first 3 episodes and sort of forgot about it, and the new season is coming out in 2 days. And it's going to take a while for me to watch the next, 7, 9-ish episodes before then. Especially since I've started recording again. Whatever, it doesn't matter. And then there was the 4th show I decided to check out on Netflix. Now, keep in mind, the first 3 that I checked out, I actually enjoyed all of them. Some of them were weirder than others. 2 of them basically required you to read subtitles the entire time. Although, again, the anime I could have watched dubbed, but I didn't want to. But I enjoyed them. The 4th one, let's just say, not quite as intriguing or entertaining or good. And this one, you might have actually heard about. I first heard about it while I was on vacation, because that's the only time I ever have an opportunity to watch cable TV, because, you know, it's provided with rooms. Whereas at home, it costs an exorbitant amount of money. Anyways, I was on vacation watching Comedy Central because one of my favorite cable channels. And this was back during when Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert both had their shows on Comedy Central, and they are both amazingly hilarious, so love that. Anyways, there was also this show called Tosh.0, hosted by a guy called Tosh. I forget what his first name is. I think it starts with a D. Was it Daniel? I don't know. Don't really care. It was kind of... I mean, yeah, it was funny, but a different kind of funny. I didn't enjoy it as much as Stewart or Colbert. But, hey, it was still good entertainment. And at some point he started trying to promote this this animated show on Comedy Central that he was getting behind. called Brickleberry, which was based in a park. And it was supposed to be sort of a mature-themed animated comedy, sort of in the vein of, like, Family Guy, I guess. But, hey, it was a cable show, and I could only watch cable, like, a few days every year when I went on vacation and went into a hotel, so... yeah, I knew I wasn't going to end up actually watching it. So I sort of put it out of my mind and forgot about it for a while. Until it appeared in my Netflix queue. And I decided to actually go look up on what had happened to it, research it a little, and that's when I found out that multiple people, professional critics, have actually named this show the worst show ever made. That is somewhat of a shocking discovery. It seemed like a decent show before it actually came out when Tosh was promoting it. But then
every
it comes...
particle of matter is attracted by or gravitates to every other particle of matter with a force inversely proportional to the squares of their distances.
Yeah. So I'm wondering what could have possibly been done to this show to make it so bad. I sort of had a sense of morbid curiosity, I guess you could say. And if you guys know me, I sort of have an affinity for shit. Shitty TV shows, shitty movies. So yeah, I had a lot of morbid curiosity to see just how bad the show really was. And I sort of put it off for a while on my Netflix queue, but I just decided to actually check it out. I've watched 2 episodes thus far, and keep in mind that I tend to be rather extra forgiving when it comes to things being terrible. That being said, I could tell within the first few minutes of this show that it was legitimately bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. Not every single joke in the show was horrible. A handful I might actually call decently funny. That being... intrigue? I have intrigue. Ottomans are planning on invading Australia? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so just to try and describe some of the issues I had with this show. Well, okay, there's right off the bat the characters. One of them is an incredibly stocky, you know what, no, I'm just going to say it, fat lesbian who is very clearly voiced by a man who sounds like he's got an entire bottle full of opioids shoved down his throat. Or her throat. Whatever, I'm about to sneeze. Sorry, that couldn't be helped. The token black character has a sexual affinity for, how do I put this? Ancient women. In the second episode, and at first, when he first mentions this, I think, wow, that's cringeworthy, but also, it's probably just a one-off joke that's never going to be referred to again. Like, the shit you see in Family Guy. After all, the show looks like it's trying to emulate Family Guy, what with the frequent cutaway gags and the crude humor. Even though it doesn't actually feel like I'm watching Family Guy as I'm watching this, but anyways, instead of that just being a one-off comment, they decide to make it a major defining characteristic of this character. And he's showing clear lust towards ancient, wrinkled up grannies, which is gross. And you'd think, at the very least, hey, maybe that's nice for the old women. I mean, they are still human. You'd think they probably don't deserve to, just die out and never have sex again. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is not something I want anyone describing to me ever. I don't want to know about it. It's fine for them to have it. And you'd think maybe this young, skinny black guy having sex with all these old ladies, you'd think at the very least it's good for the old women, right? In the second episode, he finds this old granny, sleeps with her, but it turns out she lives with her century-old mother, who ends up kicking the black guy out. So what does he do? He comes back and has sex with the mother. And then the daughter, who, keep in mind, still incredibly old, walks in, tries to murder them, and so he ends up having a three-way with both of them. And keep in mind, this is mother and daughter. Just the mere thought of a mother and a daughter having a three-way together is creepy enough. But then when you pile on to that the fact that they are incredibly ancient, it's just like, please stop. Now, I've only watched 2 episodes in. The show lasted for 3 seasons. And, I mean, hey, it's virtually a fact at this point that Western animated, mature-theme comedy shows usually have, almost always have, shitty first seasons, unless it's made by Justin Roiland, and usually get better after that. So, maybe it gets better by the second season? I don't know, but based on the fact that critics have called it the worst show ever made, kinda throws that hypothesis into doubt, if you understand my line of reasoning here. Yeah, so, anyways, I do not want to think about old lady sex again for a good long time. But here's the crazy thing. I actually think I'm probably going to keep watching it. Again, I pretty much just out of morbid curiosity. Old lady sex. I mean, who really thought that that was going to be like a good joke for them to put into the show? That people are going to want mental images of, like, sacks of wrinkles having gross sex with with their relatives. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, so the guys invading Sibiu seem to have backed off. That guy's still, like, right where he was before, but whatever, that's fine. What about this over here? Oh, hello, what's that? They put one of their guys in the water. I love it when they do that. I would have shot it down with a plane, but, you know, mobile SAMs. Oh yeah, I've also been watching Rick and Morty, which isn't on Netflix, but is pretty much one of the best shows ever made. And, you know, I think they said the next season of that is coming out in, like, what was it, by the end of this year? So I figure I'd like to rewatch the show, which isn't super easy given that it's not on Netflix. It is apparently on Hulu, but I don't have that service. So instead I have resorted to trying to find the episodes online. And I have to say, I have gotten surprisingly good at that. Which I really shouldn't be talking about in a public forum, since I don't think that's necessarily legal. So, I think maybe now's a good time for me to instead say this. I am Lord Revonworc, this has been great, and I will see you all later. Bye!